Hi, I'm Tom Costello, Technical Director of Green Tech Heat Solutions. We're here today to talk about the Titan heater, how we set up, how we get ready for a job, the proper order in which we do things, some things you may run into, some troubleshooting tips, also shutting and setting up the equipment. We're going to cover just your basic setup, why it works, placement of the machine, placement of your propane tanks, all the things you'll need to be successful. We're going to try to cover today. Okay guys, we're at the residence now. We're going to go through the steps to properly hook up the Titan. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to get your connection hose for your propane, which is going to be your black hose with your red regulator. You're going to take your regulator, you're going to screw it into the tank, remembering that gas threading is always reverse. So you're actually going to go to the left to tighten this, not the right. So you're going to make sure this is good and tight. So once you get this connection on, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a wrench and make sure that's good and tight. Next step in the process is you're going to hook up your actual propane hose to the machine. It's a quick disconnect system. As you'll see, it has a sliding quick disconnect on it. What you want to do is you want to bring this around, hold it level with the machine, pull back on the ring, slide it up. As you put this on, you want to pull this ring back, so you want to slide it on until that pops. When you hear that click, slightly pull back on it, that means it's locked in place. At this point, the propane tank should be moved 10 to 15 feet minimum away from the back or proximity to the machine. Just for the simple reason of safety, that needs to happen. The next thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hook your power cord up. It's just a regular standard power cord hooked into a 120 volt outlet. This is going to hook in right here, this pigtail coming off the side of your control box. You're going to plug that in, make sure that's good and tight. Next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to hook the ducting. You come to the front of the machine. These are your duct clamps. What these do is this ring here is specifically designed to fit the diameter of the ductwork. So there's no extra parts needed, no extra things needed to actually hook the ductwork up. In this particular case, we have already run the ductwork into the establishment. We're just going to bring the ductwork out. We're actually going to hook it to the Titan. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to bring your ductwork out and see it fits perfectly on this ring. Make sure it's good and tight. Tighten down your clamps. Pull a little bit on your ductwork to make sure that it's not sliding or moving. If it is, these can be adjusted. The tension on these can be adjusted very simply by tightening or loosening this nut on the back of the clamp. That is how you set up your Titan. Then your next step is going to be, of course, you want to go to the propane tank. You're going to want to turn the propane supply on. Make sure you don't smell any overt gas or anything like that, to make sure you don't have anything leaking out. Good rule of thumb is get some soapy water, spray it around these connections. Make sure you get no bubbles, make sure nothing's tight there. Your next step is you make sure your valve, your Regal valve, which is located on the back of the machine, is about halfway open and halfway closed, because you don't want the machine to fire up at full bore. You want to make sure when the machine does indeed fire, it's not coming out 100% top temperature, because you could damage something on the other end of the ductwork.
So this is a dial that's part of the control of the propane flow.
This is the Regal valve. What this valve designs to do is it allows the rate of gas to come into the machine and into the internal regulator. So what you do is you control your temperature by moving this valve to the right or left. As you turn it to the left, you increase your temperature. As you turn it to the right, you decrease your temperature.
Now how about monitoring the temperature of the unit itself so you know when to do it?
To monitor the temperature coming out of the machine, you have a probe called an X-Tech. What this X-Tech does is it has a magnet on the back. You bring the other end of your X-Tech, you slide back this ring right here, you drop this pin into the end of your machine. What that's going to do is give you an accurate output temperature of what's coming out of the machine, and you can get real-time temperature readings. So when you're adjusting for whatever regions you need to adjust the machine for, everything is in real time. The other thing is this can be moved and relocated to different places if you need to. These are ASCO valves, and this is an internal regulator. These are all pre-factory set. They don't need to be messed with or changed or in any way, shape, or form altered, unless under direct supervision of myself or Dr. Linford. These are factory set. They're set that way for a reason, to make sure they have the right pressure coming into the machine. If they are altered, they can damage the equipment, but most of all, they now they become unsafe. So these valves need to be left alone. Now let's talk about distance. As you can see, we don't have the machine running right into the front of the home. What you need is a 5 to 10 foot span for safety reasons, to have a break before you get to the residence itself, which gives you time to get to the equipment and get it shut down. The next important thing is your distance of your propane tank. You want to make sure that your propane tank is no closer than 10 feet to your machine. What that does is that allows a better flow of propane through the line, because you don't have as many kinks. It's not as close. Also, what it limits is, in case of a leak or in case of a failure on the end of the regulator, it's not close enough to the flame on the machine that it becomes an issue. So as you can see, we've got the ductwork running into the house. We are now getting ready to actually start the machine, and we're going to get the process going.